Since the two other speakers are still no-shows, would be Gladys, I think. Is that right?
Yes, I can share my screen.
If you want, sure, go ahead.
All right, give me a minute.
Yeah, no worries. Perfect.
All right. So this afternoon, I'll be giving you a short overview of a project that we have been undertaking here in the WIO region. It's on enabling sustainable exploitation of the coastal tuna species, and here we're focusing on Kawakawa and Skipjack. So this is a collaboration between many institutions. As you can see on the screen, we have Rhodes University, we have Sokoine University, we have Chemfree, we have IP from Mozambique, we have Tafiri from Tanzania, and we have Aberystwyth University from the UK. Just a bit of a background, the Indian Ocean represents the world's second largest tuna producing region, and it lands about 920 metric tons of tuna annually. This accounts for 20 to 24% of the world market, and it's valued at $2.3 billion US, representing about 16% of the world's tuna industry. In the Indian Ocean, tuna fisheries have become increasingly important. As you're aware, most of the nations are aspiring to expand their national fleets, and this is mainly towards harnessing the blue economy. The tuna species that we're studying, as mentioned, is Skipjack, which is Katsuonis pelamis, and then Kawakawa, which is Euthenus affinis. So Skipjack is one of the tropical tuna species, one of the principal market species globally, and it's captured by industrial and artisanal fisheries, whereas Kawakawa is mainly exploited by artisanal fishers. And the metric tonnage is about over 547,000 tons. That was the tonnage exploited in the Indian Ocean in 2019, whereas for affinis, it was around 173,000 tons. And both species under IOTC are still, the stocks are still healthy and can be exploited. Oh, sorry. Am I being seen on the video? Thank you, sorry about that, okay. I think the video is interfering with I can't.
You can just turn it off if you want,
Yeah,
if it makes it easier.
I think I can't do both, okay. Are you seeing the slides now?
Yeah.
The movement, the new slide, okay.
Yeah.
So the objectives, we have 3 objectives. The first one is looking at the genetic connectivity between the countries that we're studying. We're trying to do a genome-wide assessment of the genetic diversity, looking at the stock structure. The second objective is to investigate the influence of oceanographic factors on distribution, spawning patterns, genetic structure, and also the catches. And then the third objective is to conduct a value chain analysis across the countries, just to understand the economic uses and value of these 2 species. Now, due to challenges that we've had with COVID-19, we are a bit behind, but I'll just be giving you some highlights of the research findings that we have so far as we continue with the study. So with the objective 1 on the genetic analysis, we have 2 sites in Kenya, 2 sites in Tanzania. In Mozambique, we have 1 site. And then we have outgroups in Seychelles and Goa in India. And then for the skipjack, again, 2 sites in Kenya, 1 in Tanzania, Mozambique, South Africa, 2 sites. And then outgroups countries is Seychelles and Sri Lanka. So far we have collected genetic samples. They're currently at Aberystwyth University, where the DNA has been extracted. So the genetic sequencing is ongoing, and we're hoping to see the kind of results that we'll get very soon as the work is ongoing. Objective 2 and 3, we're also characterizing the small-scale tuna fishery, which is our focus. And this objective overlaps. The characterization of the fishery is an overlap between Objective 2 and 3, looking at the fishery itself and the seasonality of the catches, and then again looking at aspects of the value chain through the catch analysis. So here on this screen, I have the gear types that are targeting skipjack and kawakawa in Kenya. We've been able to determine that there are about eight gears that are targeting. Among these gears, all of them are catching tuna, but as you can see on the left, some gears are catching, the composition of some gears is much focused on tuna compared to others. Others are having mixed species of other pelagics and demersals. But when we look at the two species, we find that kawakawa is being caught by all the gear types, high diversity of gears, but the three main gears is ringnet, reef seine, and drifting gillnet. And you can see there about ringnet is catching quite a high abundance, ringnet and reef seine, about 350 kilos per trip. For reef seine, around 276 kilos per trip. So that's very, very high. For pelamis, we found that about 4 gears were capturing this species, and the gear that is mainly catching is the drifting gillnet. Kawakawa is being caught, about 31.5% of the total landings are kawakawa, whereas for skipjack, only 4% of the total landings were skipjack. In terms of catch composition, this just shows you how the species dominate in the different gear types. You can see for ringnet and reef seines and set gillnets, you see kawakawa being caught highest. Whereas if you look at the other gears, you find that they're catching very high diversity of species. Now, in terms of size selectivity, what we're able to see across the countries, if you look on your right, you're seeing skipjack. The size selectivity is relatively similar. But when we look at kawakawa, we're seeing that for Kenya and Tanzania, where kawakawa is being caught, the selectivity for Kenya and Tanzania is quite similar. But for Mozambique, they're catching very, very small kawakawa. And that is because of the gear types that are being used. They're actually using small seine nets and big seines. So they are really impacting on the juvenile sizes. And this screen just shows you the size ranges of the two species across the different countries. On your left, you can see that most of the countries are catching individuals that are larger than the size at maturity, actually all the countries if you look. And then on the right, you can see the maturity composition. And you can see therefore Kenya and Tanzania were mainly catching mature fish. 75 to 79% of the catch is mature fish, whereas in Mozambique, 90% of the catch is immature fish. And the same trend we're seeing for skipjack, with South Africa catching 70% immature fish. Now, with regards to mean sizes, we're comparing between the different gears that are catching. We're able to observe that drifting gillnets are catching the largest individuals of kawakawa, whereas for skipjack, drifting gillnets and monofilament gillnets are catching relatively similar sizes. Whereas monofilament gillnets are catching very small, or the smallest sizes, around 42 centimeters. However, when we looked at the mean sizes between seasons and we tried to compare this statistically, we did not see any significant difference. So there seems to be no significant change in sizes across the seasons. Now, with regards to seasonality and catch rates, we're able to determine for Kawakawa, we're seeing peaks in January and April. And then for Skipjack, there was we see peaks between December and February. So that's when the peak season is occurring in terms of catch rates. And all this information that we have collected, we shall be trying to understand how the oceanographic features are influencing them, influencing the catches, influencing the genetic connectivity. And you can see there on the left, from December to February, you're seeing quite major action going on compared to between May and September. So this oceanic fronts are likely to be contributing a lot to the dynamics of the catches that we're having. We'll also be trying to pinpoint hotspots of tuna abundance in upwelling zones, because upwelling zones also do contribute to the population parameters that we are recording. So this also will be ongoing work. Under the value chain, I'll just give some information on the market supply. So we've undertaken a value chain analysis very recently, and the data is still being analyzed, but these are just some of the highlights. If we look at the seasonality based on what the traders and wholesalers experience in terms of the market supply, for Kenya, we were seeing they reported their high season to be between October and December, whereas for Mozambique, the high season was in January to March, and then for Tanzania, the high season was in February to April. So we found that quite interesting, and we're trying to see how it correlates with the catch dynamics. We're also trying to understand the supply chain. So this is a supply chain that we are observing between Kenya and Tanzania. Mainly, this is a domestic fishery, so all the fish is being consumed locally, and the catches are either going, some catches are going for home consumption, some catches going to fish processors, who are the mama karangas, or the women who fry the fish by the beaches for sale. Most of the catch is going to the fish traders and boat owners. As you can see on the right, 74% of the fish is bought by the boat owners and investors. So they own the boats, and therefore they own the catches, and they dominate the purchasing. Whereas in Tanzania, we saw a slight difference where the fish is being purchased mainly by the households. So 43% was going straight to be consumed by the households, and then about 37% going to the traders. So you can see there's a slight difference in the value chains. Now, with recreational fisheries, this is a unique fishery that we're looking at in South Africa, trying to understand how this fishery exploits the two species. What we have to note is that Kawakawa is mainly being caught in the east coast of South Africa, whereas Skipjack is being caught throughout the coastline. And during our questionnaire survey, we did ask which species they target among the respondents, who are anglers, recreational anglers, commercial anglers, and charter operators. And what we observed is that when asked the question, what species do you target, quite a big percentage said they do not target any of the species, so they're not really capturing these small species. But a small percentage did say that they target skipjack, about 28%, and another small percentage said that they do target both species. But with regards to the catch composition, about 43% of the respondents said they catch skipjack. About 19% said they mostly catch skipjack, whereas those who mostly caught Kawakawa are 16%. If we look at the kilos that are being caught, skipjack about 22.3 kilos, and this constitutes about 44% of the total catch, whereas for Kawakawa, about 32 kilos per trip, and that constitutes about 47% of the total catch. So this gives us a sneak peek on what is happening with the recreational fishery in South Africa, targeting the two species. And we are continuing with our data analysis. We have some milestones we're yet to achieve, doing the genetic connectivity analysis, finalizing on our value chain analysis, and also we do have PhD and MSc students attached who we hope will be completing their studies by the year December 2022. I'll end my presentation there, and I welcome any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a really nice talk. Thanks for sharing all that wealth of knowledge. Are there any questions from the audience? Seems like not so far. I have one. During your talk, I realized that you said that in some countries there's a very high percentage of undersized fish that have not yet reproduced. Is anything done to try to prevent that, or are there measures in place?
I will not be able to answer that because that is an issue that is pertaining Mozambique, but I may be able to consult and come back with that answer.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, yes.
If I just may continue, I'm not a fisheries scientist, but I was really interesting to see there was like slight shifts in the peak catches. So is that also a transition of seasons
Yes.
among the coast in the channel?
Yeah, we're suspecting there's a strong influence of the oceanographic features as the monsoons change. And we're hoping that as we do the genetic analysis, we'll be able to really come up with a clear answer on that. But definitely, it's an influence of seasonality, yes.
Cool, thanks a lot, really interesting.